The wrestling world just got a seismic shake as Jacob Fatu makes his return to the ring after months of being sidelined with an injury that had fans wondering if they would ever see the Samoan Werewolf unleash his devastating arsenal again. This is not just another comeback story, this is the resurrection of one of the most dangerous and explosive performers in professional wrestling today, and before you scroll past this video, you need to hear every single detail about what went down, why this return matters more than you think, and what it means for the future of WWE. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because you won't want to miss what's coming next in this incredible journey. The injury that took Jacob Fatu out of action was no minor setback. When he went down during a match earlier this year, the immediate concern on everyone's face told the story before any official announcement was made. The way he grabbed at his leg, the way medical personnel rushed to his side, and the way he had to be helped to the back painted a grim picture for anyone watching. Injuries in professional wrestling are an occupational hazard, but when someone with Fatu's style and intensity goes down, the implications extend far beyond just one performer. His absence created a massive void in the roster, and fans could feel it with every passing week. The initial reports were vague, with WWE keeping details close to the vest as they always do with injury situations. Speculation ran rampant across social media and wrestling forums, with everyone from casual fans to industry insiders trying to piece together the severity of what Fatu was dealing with. Some suggested it was a knee issue that could require surgery, others thought it might be related to his ankle, and a few optimistic voices hoped it was just a bad sprain that would heal with rest. The uncertainty made the waiting game even more difficult for fans who had become accustomed to seeing Fatu deliver show-stealing performances on a regular basis. What made this injury particularly frustrating was the timing. Jacob Fatu had been building incredible momentum, establishing himself as a force that could not be ignored. His matches were must-see television, his presence added weight to any storyline he was involved in, and his connection with the audience was growing stronger with each appearance. To have all of that come to a screeching halt felt like watching a rocket ship get grounded right before liftoff. The Bloodline storyline was reaching new heights, and Fatu's role in that narrative was crucial to its success. Without him, the dynamic shifted, and while the story continued, there was an undeniable gap where his intensity and aggression should have been. Behind the scenes, the recovery process was grueling. Rehabilitation from a significant wrestling injury is not just about physical healing but also about mental fortitude. Athletes at this level push their bodies to extremes, and being forced to sit on the sidelines while your peers continue to perform is a psychological challenge that cannot be understated. Fatu had to trust the process, work with medical professionals, and resist the urge to rush back before his body was truly ready. The temptation to return early is always there, especially when you can hear the crowd and feel the energy of live events happening without you. But rushing back prematurely only leads to injury and potentially career-threatening complications. The rehabilitation program involved countless hours of physical therapy, strength training designed specifically to rebuild the injured area, and careful monitoring to ensure that each phase of recovery was completed successfully before moving to the next. Modern sports medicine has advanced tremendously, giving wrestlers and athletes better chances of returning to full strength than ever before, but it still requires patience and dedication. Fatu had to relearn movements, rebuild muscle that had atrophied during downtime, and gradually increase the intensity of his workouts until he could handle the demands of an actual wrestling match. Every small victory in the gym represented progress toward the ultimate goal of getting back in the ring. Throughout his absence, fans never stopped asking about him. Social media was flooded with questions about his recovery timeline, theories about when he might return, and expressions of how much he was missed. The wrestling community rallied around him, sending messages of support and encouragement that undoubtedly helped during the difficult days when progress felt slow. Fellow wrestlers also spoke about how the locker room missed his presence, not just as a performer but as a person who brought energy and passion to the backstage environment. The brotherhood of professional wrestling runs deep, and when one of your own is injured, everyone feels the impact. As weeks turned into months, whispers started to emerge that Fatu was making progress. Training videos began to surface showing him working out, looking strong and determined. These glimpses gave fans hope that the return was coming sooner rather than later, though nobody wanted to get too excited until there was official confirmation. The WWE is notorious for keeping return dates secret to maximize surprise and impact, so even when signs pointed toward Fatu being cleared, there was no guarantee when or where he would show up. This secrecy is part of what makes wrestling exciting, that element of surprise that can transform an ordinary show into an unforgettable moment. Then it happened. The moment everyone had been waiting for arrived without warning, exactly as it should have. The music hit, the crowd erupted, and Jacob Fatu walked back into the spotlight looking every bit as dangerous and explosive as he did before the injury took him away. The reaction was deafening, a mixture of shock, joy, and anticipation for what would come next. His return was not just a feel-good moment but a statement that he was back and ready to reclaim his position at the top of the mountain. The way he carried himself showed that the time away had not diminished his confidence or his hunger to compete at the highest level. What made this return even more significant was how it was executed. WWE did not just have him show up for a quick appearance or a backstage segment. They gave him a spotlight moment that reminded everyone why he matters. The booking protected his aura while also advancing ongoing storylines, threading the needle between giving fans what they wanted and maintaining the logical progression of current narratives. This is the kind of creative thinking that elevates wrestling from simple athletic competition to compelling storytelling that keeps audiences invested week after week. The physical condition FATU displayed upon his return was remarkable. He looked lean, muscular, and ready for war. The time away from in-ring action had clearly been used not just for healing but for getting into peak physical shape. Sometimes injuries can be a blessing in disguise, forcing athletes to rest bodies that have been beaten down by years of non-stop performance. The recovery period allowed FATU to address smaller nagging issues that might have been ignored in the grind of the regular schedule, and he emerged looking refreshed and rejuvenated. The explosion in his movements, the crispness of his strikes, and the fluidity of his athleticism all suggested that he had not lost a step during his time away. His first match back was everything fans hoped it would be. There was an intensity to his performance that reminded everyone why he earned the nickname Samoan Werewolf. He moved with purpose, delivered his signature offense with authority, and showed absolutely no hesitation or tentativeness that sometimes accompanies comebacks from injury. The psychological aspect of returning from a significant injury can be tricky, with athletes sometimes being overly cautious or protective of the previously injured area. FATU displayed none of that hesitation, throwing himself into the action with the same reckless abandon that made him a fan favorite in the first place. The crowd response throughout his return match was electric. Every high spot was met with thunderous reactions, every near fall had the audience on the edge of their seats, and when his hand was finally raised in victory, the building shook with approval. This kind of organic fan support cannot be manufactured or forced, it comes from genuine appreciation for a performer who gives everything they have for the entertainment of the audience. FATU has always had that connection with fans, that intangible quality that separates good wrestlers from great ones, and his return only strengthened that bond. Looking ahead, the possibilities for Jacob FATU are endless. The WWE landscape has shifted during his absence, with new storylines developing and different rivalries taking shape. His return injects fresh energy into multiple potential directions, and the creative team now has a powerful piece to move around the chessboard. Whether he continues his involvement with existing storylines or branches out into new feuds, the presence of Jacob FATU automatically elevates whatever program he is part of. His versatility as a performer means he can work with virtually anyone on the roster and deliver compelling matches that fans want to see. The Bloodline saga in particular benefits tremendously from his return. This ongoing storyline has been one of the most successful and longest-running narratives in recent WWE history, and having all the key players healthy and active only adds to its potential. The chemistry between the members, the family drama, the battles for dominance within the group, and the conflicts with outside challengers all create layers of storytelling that can sustain audience interest for months or even years. FATU's role in this dynamic is crucial, bringing an edge and an unpredictability that keeps things interesting even when the broad strokes of the story might seem predictable. Beyond the immediate storylines, FATU's return also sends a message to the entire roster. It shows that hard work during recovery pays off, that setbacks do not have to be career-ending, and that maintaining your position at the top level is possible even after extended absences. Younger wrestlers watching his comeback can take inspiration from the professionalism and dedication he displayed throughout the process. Veterans can appreciate the resilience required to battle back from injury and return at full strength. This kind of example raises the standard for everyone and contributes to the overall competitive atmosphere that makes a locker room great. The business side of wrestling also benefits from his return. Merchandise sales, live event attendance, television ratings, and social media engagement all get a boost when a popular performer comes back from injury. Fans who may have drifted away during his absence have a reason to tune back in, and casual viewers who see highlights of his return might be intrigued enough to start watching regularly. The wrestling business is ultimately about creating moments that people want to see and talk about, and a successful injury return checks all those boxes. WWE now has another proven draw to build around, another name to promote on posters and advertisements, and another performer who can be trusted to deliver when the spotlight is brightest. The medical team behind his recovery deserves recognition as well. The doctors, physical therapists, trainers, and strength coaches who guided FATU through the rehabilitation process played a vital role in getting him back to the ring safely. Professional wrestling puts unique demands on the body that differ from traditional sports, and understanding how to prepare someone for those specific challenges requires specialized knowledge. The fact that FATU returned looking strong and showed no signs of limitation speaks to the quality of care and preparation he received during his time away from action. His family and support system also played an important role in this comeback story. Being injured means missing time not just from wrestling but from the routine and purpose that comes with being an active performer. The people around FATU who provided encouragement, helped with daily tasks during the early stages of recovery, and kept his spirits up during difficult moments all contributed to the successful return. Professional athletes often talk about how important their support systems are, and while they are the ones who do the physical work of recovery, having people who believe in you and push you to keep going makes an enormous difference. The wrestling community as a whole celebrated this return because it represents something bigger than just one person getting back to work. Every successful comeback from injury gives hope to others currently on the shelf dealing with their own problems. It reminds everyone that injuries are part of the business, but they do not have to be the end of the story. The knowledge and techniques for treating sports injuries continue to improve, giving wrestlers better chances of full recovery than previous generations had. Each success story adds to the collective understanding of how to handle these situations and increases the likelihood that future injuries can be managed even more effectively. Social media exploded with reactions to FATU's return, with wrestlers past and present, fans from around the world, and media personalities all weighing in on what they had just witnessed. The immediate response was overwhelmingly positive, with people expressing genuine happiness to see him back and excitement about what comes next. In an era where wrestling fans can be notoriously difficult to please, the unified positive reaction to this return says everything about how respected and valued Jacob FATU is within the industry. The authenticity of the response, the lack of cynicism or negativity that sometimes accompanies wrestling discourse, showed that this was a universally appreciated moment. The timing of his return also could not have been better from a company perspective. WWE is currently in a period of tremendous momentum, with strong television ratings, successful premium live events, and growing mainstream attention. Adding Jacob FATU back into the mix gives the creative team even more options and flexibility in how they structure shows and build toward major events. The depth of talent on the roster is impressive, and having everyone healthy creates the kind of competitive environment where performers push each other to be better. This rising tide lifts all boats scenario benefits everyone involved. Now that he is back, the focus shifts to what comes next. The immediate future will likely see FATU re-establishing himself as a top-tier performer, reminding anyone who may have forgotten just how special he is inside the ring. From there, the possibilities branch out in multiple directions depending on creative decisions, fan response, and the overall direction of WWE programming. Championship opportunities will certainly be on the table at some point, whether for singles titles or tag team gold. Major feuds with top stars could produce some of the best matches of the year. Surprise returns to iconic events could create moments that live forever in highlight reels and wrestling history. The hunger and motivation that often accompany injury returns could drive FATU to even greater heights than before. Athletes frequently talk about how time away from competition makes them appreciate it more and pushes them to make the most of every opportunity. That chip on the shoulder mentality, that desire to prove that the injury did not diminish your abilities, can fuel incredible performances. If FATU channels that energy into his work, the next chapter of his career could be the most impressive yet. The combination of his natural talent, improved physical conditioning from the recovery process, and renewed hunger to succeed creates the perfect storm for an exceptional run. Wrestling fans should feel fortunate to witness this return and the subsequent performances that will follow. Moments like these remind us why we love this form of entertainment, why we invest our time and emotional energy into following these stories and these performers. The human element of overcoming adversity, fighting through pain and setbacks, and emerging victorious on the other side resonates beyond just wrestling fans to anyone who has faced challenges in their own lives. Jacob FATU's return is more than just a wrestler coming back from injury, it is a story about resilience, determination, and the refusal to let obstacles define your destiny. As we watch this next phase unfold, one thing is certain, Jacob FATU is back and the wrestling world is better for it. His presence elevates every show he is on, every match he is in, and every storyline he touches. The months of waiting are over, the uncertainty has been replaced with excitement, and the Samoan Werewolf is once again prowling the ring looking for his next victim. This is exactly what wrestling needs right now, performers who can capture imagination, deliver in big moments, and create memories that last long after the show ends. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, now is the perfect time to do it because you will not want to miss a single moment of what promises to be an incredible journey as Jacob FATU writes the next chapter of his story.